Welcome to Kart with Friends YouTube channel.
I'm your host, customarily,
And Amatus, and we are here to serve you motorsport goodness. So on this week's episode, we are going to talk about our experience at New Jersey Motorsport Park.
That's right.
Oh man, it was a trying day. it
was a doozy. We learned a lot about ourselves.
A doozy. Yeah, for real. Nah, man, we went out with high expectations, without a doubt. Like, we've been practicing, we've been putting in the time, but honestly, like, the competition, they came out. You know what I mean? They came out. And
Some of the fastest, I think, on the track. They knew the track well, but we definitely found out a lot about ourselves that day. That we were slow.
Definitely not fast enough.
Definitely not fast enough.
Like,
but
feeling like turtle slow on the track. Like, trying to, like, chug along, get us in the lead, trying to get more. Man, it was.
But it was fun, though.
Hell yeah, we had fun.
I mean, one of the best karting experiences I've had so far.
And
so it's only getting better.
Yeah, and it was our very first race. We got there like, 8:30 in the morning? Like, we had to be out of bed like what time?
Like 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, like mad early in the morning.
Exactly.
And how long was this trip?
About 2.5, 3 hours.
Bro, that was so we're driving 3 hours to get there.
Just to go karting.
Just to go karting, and on top of that, we're driving 2 hours around this track. So this basically gives you an idea of like how we start our day.
Yep.
So like we get there around 8:30 and we're checking in. Everyone checks in, everyone's there, we're scoping out the competition.
Yep.
And some guys are like have like racing suits, like they're ready.
Yeah, these dudes are already in full gear. Like, I'm telling you,
like
shoes, everything, helmet in hand, they were ready to go, and the building wasn't even open yet.
Yeah. Like, you could
seriously,
like they wore the experience. It was like no joke. So, at that point we're like, for us, we don't have our own suits, but we will. And
he does.
Well, just got mine in the mail, and we'll do an unboxing video on that. I love it. Racing suits, my very first racing suit.
Nice.
But, we got in these like racing suits that they have, it's rental, it's not the best. It's tight in the wrong places and loose in the wrong places.
It worked for the day. Listen, it was a cold, windy day. I needed that racing suit. To tell you the truth, I needed that. So, we took whatever they had. It served a purpose, but when we got out there on the track, that's when it got serious.
That's when it went down. That's when rubber was hitting the pavement. This is when like everyone's full out. It was definitely a cloudy, nice day. At some points in the race, it started to rain.
Yep.
There was like a whole spin out situation going on as well.
The elements were against us, I tell you, man. But the wind was crazy. It's crazy out there.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, we did get a chance to warm up though. Tell them about the warm up.
So apparently they changed their format. So originally when I wanted to sign up for the race, it said that every 20 minutes everyone's going to be changing out. But when we got there, they were basically like, well, you're in charge of your time management.
Yeah,
so
to figure it out.
we still went with the 20 minutes because there's 3 of us. Unfortunately, Jason's not here with us to record this video. What's up, Jason? But that, you know, he did his thing, and we each did 10 minutes, and it gave us a nice feel for what the competition was. I had been to the track last year. This was Patrick's and Jason's first time on the track, so this was, you know, this was a brand new experience for all of us in a sense. Race experience wise. So it was a good practice. We got through it. We kind of worked out like how we're going to change and help each other in the pit. So, you know, and which is pretty straightforward. You know, I mean, it is a go-kart, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So once we were done with that, then it was race time.
Yeah. So some cool aspects about it though, the pit, right?
Yeah.
So having to change out, how do we manage that? So we got to come up with ways to try to get fast in and out the kart because time's against us. You're racing against the clock. Basically, how many laps can you make around the track? Who can do it the fastest? Who can do it the most? So we got to switch out quick.
Exactly, and also there were teams with like 2 people. So you know, everyone had different team numbers, and I think everyone kind of managed the time differently. Some people stayed in a bit longer, so there was definitely momentum on some team's side. But for the most part, working with a 3-man team for us felt like the right number.
Yeah, I think that's perfect.
You know, in terms of like, if we were to recommend to other teams to like, if they wanted to form a team, we'll definitely say like 3 at the most. I feel like customary said, man, we found out a lot about ourselves, and despite it being a doozy, I mean that's just the competitive nature in us. Like we wanna come in the top 5.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to lose. Come on now, we're not gonna go 2.5 hours just to go lose. But I tell you what, we got used to the track.
Yeah,
you know, we learned something. We had fun, and you know, we pushed those cars to the limits.
Right, we did our very best. And full disclosure here, there were 10 people on the track, 10 races on the track, 10 teams, on the track, and we came 9th. Not our finest moment, but at the end of the day, at least we won't last. For real.
So we got nothing but room for improvement though. But
it's all about consistency, guys, and this is the one thing that we really learned on this track, on this endurance race. That we needed to be much more consistent. We needed to definitely push our brakes a little bit more to the limit, and we needed to find better racing line. And that's, you know, that is part of, you know, the learning and growth that we're looking for. And the experience kind of helped us basically see, you know, these kinks in our armor. Like, you know, we need to get better at these things. These are our weak points, and these are the places that we need to work on for our next race. So we're pretty excited about that. You know, definitely we don't want to be non-competitive at all, but at the same time, you know, part of racing is learning, growing, and most of all, seat time. And that's what we plan on doing.
Yeah, talking about seat time, it was good to get some time on the track for 2 hours. So, you know, taking that into consideration, I feel like, you know, we put in some work. We got some experience. We raced against some of the fastest on the track. I believe at least one of the guys driving clocked the fastest time on the track. So, you know, we know what we're up against now. So now we go back to the drawing board. We review this footage. We're going to go over this race with you. And, you know, we're going to see what our mistakes were, how we could be more consistent, how we could get into those corners and get out of those faster. So it's all a process. The day was pretty cold though. It was really windy.
Man, I tell you.
The elements were against us, man. I tell you, there was rain, there was dirt on the track, there was all kind of stuff going on. But I tell you, all those race conditions were definitely well worth it.
I mean, I definitely wanted to have more footage, but like I said, it was cold, and you know, I was nervous. I'm not gonna lie, man. I really was trying to get like locked in, like, you know, thinking about like videoing and documenting. I just kind of was in the zone.
I still don't want to spin up, man. I still did anyway. But.
Right. So for the next race, we'll definitely provide much more footage, but we do our GoPro cam footage, which was this is what is ideal and prime for us. So we'll be highlighting some of those at the end of this video so you guys can check it out. We're not going to put every last bit of the race on there. We're just going to put some highlights that you think we'll enjoy, kind of show you what we're doing wrong, and some of the areas that we're looking to improve. But it's just fun footage, and as we go along, more to come. The main goal of this is one, team building, and also just having fun, and allowing everyone to just compete and also grow within their own racing abilities. So
I tell you, man, it was great. Greatest racing experience so far in my life. So,
I'm definitely looking forward to more
I recommend
races.
it to anybody. So y'all need to come out. See if you're faster than us.
Hey man, for real, you gotta put in that seat time because we out here to compete, we out here to have fun, and we just really want everyone to just come along and enjoy what we've been enjoying. We think it's a great outlet for anyone just looking into motorsports. We think it's a great way to just have fun, get adrenaline rush.
Yeah, just let loose.
Yeah.
No cops.
You don't have to worry about speed cameras.
No speed limit.
Listen,
as fast as you can make that go-kart go, it's up to you. We could do it. It's in a safe environment. It's a controlled environment. All skill levels are welcome. Listen, it's for you. It's for you. But definitely you got to try it.
We have an event coming up on May 1st at Oakland Valley Race Park and at 3:30. So, hopefully you guys can come out. It's going to be a good time. We're pretty excited about it. This is our first meetup for the summertime, and we're gonna go out and have some ice cream afterwards. Hey man, who doesn't like ice cream? So it's gonna be a good time.
Beautiful. It's gonna be beautiful.
It's going to be a good time. Come out, race kart with us, and we'll help you if it's your first time. We'll help guide you through what the race lines are and help you get comfortable.
Everything you need is there. All the gear, everything you need.
Exactly.
All you need to do is show up.
That's it. And it'll be a great time. And we'll definitely be doing more of these throughout the summertime. So pay attention to our YouTube, our Instagram, and our TikTok. Definitely we'll be bringing more content on these ends. But we'll be racing all summer. We'll be going to motorsport events all summer.
We're bringing you content all summer.
All summer. And it's our first time. Like we said, this is us on our journey to really explore motorsport in a way that we haven't before. We've always like cars and had interest in cars, always bought cars, drove cars, but this is just really understanding the sport on a professional level, and being more of a fan, and I think it's pretty exciting, and I think there are a lot of people that are curious about it as well, and we just want them to come and join us on this journey.
We want to bring that knowledge to you. So anytime we go to any event, we're going to share that with you. Even if we go to a local car meetup, we're sharing that. Yeah,
we're just looking to build community around people that are just interested in the things that we love. And I think it's going to be fun. This is New York City. This is New York. You know what I mean? And there's always an outlet for people to do things. And we're looking for this to be an outlet for all of us to kind of learn and enjoy the motorsport together.
And we're going to share all those events that we're going to attend right with you, so you could be there with us.
That's right. All right, guys, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and follow us at Kart with Friends on TikTok and
Instagram.
InstaFam.
Yo, see you May 1st and enjoy the footage.
For real, enjoy. Have a good one.
Bless.
This is your boy Customary, Kart with Friends host and driver. I'll be doing your commentary today, going over some race critiques, talking about the track, the competition, going into some tips and some tricks, talking about some areas of improvement that we can do. As we described, this was our first official competitive race against other experienced drivers. Even though this type of competition, all skill levels are welcome. Obviously, many on the track today with us raced here before. A lot of people race from a very young age, so they may be amateur, but certainly very experienced. So as we take you through this race, we'll talk about some race concepts, talk about some terminology, and it won't be a full tutorial on all race concepts, but certainly you'll hear a lot of terminology, and we try to give you some background on that. So as we start off the race, that first lap was really more of a safety lap. We've officially begun the race into the first lap. That's the second turn, going into the third turn there. catching some nice cornering there, getting to the apex, which is that innermost corner of innermost section of the corner as you go through. Ideally you want to get into these corners with the least amount of steering input. That means, traveling a line throughout the corner that will allow you to go as straight as possible. So the least turning input as possible. As you see, I'm clipping the side there. That straightaway is pretty fast, so that first turn is probably the most challenging for me. This was the first part of the endurance race, so I started off out of the 3-man team that we have. I started off first, and so this run is probably not as smooth as my second run, but definitely many areas of improvement. So we talked about some of the other racers. We started off at the back. I believe that some of these racers have previously clocked times on this track in previous endurance races, and so based on your time, you get to start out in the front. We're not racing for any specific position, as this is time-based. So the endurance race is 2 hours, as we described, and we switch between 3 people at our convenience, at our leisure, and basically who can complete the most laps in the least amount of time will determine your winner. I had a little spin out earlier. You didn't see that in this video or in the clips that we shared. So that slowed me down. Even though we started out at the back, it already slowed me down. And some of those faster drivers at the front will eventually catch up with me due to that fact. But again, remember, we're racing against the clock. We're racing against time. And it's good to see, what some of our mistakes were as we drive. So you're looking at this corner coming up. You saw I attempted to pass him, but made it very obvious about trying to pass him. What I should have done, and what some of the more experienced drivers were doing on this track, we're catching a slipstream behind other drivers as they come up that straightaway and then quickly go for the overtake on the turn. So that's something that I'll look to do now that I'm more familiar with this track. This is our first time racing the track, at least for me. Amatis had the opportunity to race the track earlier, sometime last summer. This is my first time racing the track, and so getting used to the track was definitely a part of the challenge. It was very windy that day, so a lot of wind resistance made it hard to kind of keep the kart stable at times. You can see that I did a nice job of getting past him on the corner there, getting some good acceleration and gaining some pace on the straightaway. Again, this first turn is very challenging. You can see one of the front runners that started out the race eventually caught me up several laps as we got into it. It's always good to see these faster racers pass you though, because you get to see the line that they're taking, how fast they're going through the corners, and things that you can adjust as you go. You can see that he's gaining a lot of pace, a lot of speed as we go uphill into this turn. We get some nice turn here without much slippage on the tires. We go through this chicane. Chicane is just a fancy term for 2 turns, one right after the other, usually left to right or right to left. Come down the straightaway here, we clip this inside apex nicely, but again, coming into this corner much too fast. You want to use entire track to your availability. I didn't clip the inside there, and I could have got much straighter through that corner. Definitely would have came out with more speed. Some concepts to think about. The road conditions here, the track conditions, you can see there was some dirt on the track there. It would have been better for me to go a little bit wider on those turns because of the slippage due to the dirt and the water there. We talked about track conditions, weather elements, and things of that nature. These are all things you have to adapt to. So when racing outdoor versus indoor, you want to take into consideration different techniques that you have to master, different variables that you have to take consideration of as you calculate your way around the track. Again, some slippage there, losing grip because I'm coming in much too fast. So you want to look at your braking zones. You can see I was pretty frustrated there. You want to use your braking zone. So you can see I started from the outside of the track, came right in, almost like a straight line down through the apex there. Again, coming to the outside of the track, least steering input, making it around the corner, getting some good speed. Coming up again, this is an uphill As you come around, we come downhill. So that's a good opportunity for me to be able to gain very good speed coming down that hill. So that means I have to brake early enough, get enough grip so I could get on the acceleration as soon as I come out of that corner. Another tip is making sure that when you do come out of the corner and ready to accelerate, knowing when to accelerate. You want to get onto the gas pedal as soon as you get through that apex. Trying to power through the apex will cause some slippage, may not have as much grip, but definitely as soon as you get the front of the cart in the direction you want it to go, you want to get on that gas pedal. In terms of braking, you're not going to brake at the same point at every corner every time, but you want to have a good idea of how your brakes respond, how much pressure to apply to the brake, how late can you brake going into the turn. That means that you could keep more speed going into that turn, but you want to brake just enough that you're not losing control either as you're making the turn. You want to keep as much grip as possible. Coming into this turn, again, it's the most challenging for me starting off. Trying to use the most of the track there. I moved over another driver who is having more pace than I came up. So one thing you want to do when you're racing against time, don't try to fight with the other drivers. That's what's going to slow you down. So if somebody's having more pace than you, they're moving faster than you, let them go. If they have a better line than you, a race line than you, then let them go. Try to follow them, slipstream. See what you're doing wrong, catch back up. But fighting with them for a position is not necessary in the endurance race, and it will just slow you down. So you can see they're using the whole track here. Going to the outside, coming to the inside, clipping that inside edge. You can see the racer in front of me doing a good job taking that corner. Got around that corner pretty nicely. This is like a downhill turn, so as we come around, we're clipping the inside again, trying to get as much inside as possible. Nice turn there by the racer in front of us. See, he gained some momentum just on that turn. No slippage. I tend to have a little slippage in the on the rear tires as we come around. Again, this is an uphill coming into a downhill. A perfect opportunity where I need to get the best turn possible to catch that momentum. Now these are the front runners who started out at the front of the race, finally caught me up. You can see one is drifting, slipstreaming behind the other. That's a point of least resistance for those racers to cut through the air. Very windy day, and so that's a great strategy to have least wind resistance and being able to maintain speed. So a couple of the front runners here finally caught up to me. Some of the guys that we were racing with actually are some of the fastest on the track in terms of times that have been recorded on the track. So we raced with 10 teams. Some teams have teams of 2, some had teams of 4, others had teams of 3. But the minimum you could have in an endurance race is 2 people. You can see that I'm signaling to my team in the pit area there. I think they were calling for me the last few laps. I just never noticed them. But that's part of the learning curve here for these endurance races. Just understanding when to switch out, looking for the cues. I kind of got caught up here, trying to see how well I can do on the track on my first run. And so we'll pit very soon. We'll look to switch out with Amatus. He's coming up as second leg on this endurance race, and you'll see how that process turns out. Well done coming through the chicane there. Did a lot of good things. Did a lot of good things here today, but certainly knowing the track, being able to adapt, little techniques, reactions, it's all instinctual. It's all based on experience, and we're new to the motorsport circuit. Always been interested, but when going up against competition that's been racing for years, there are things that you know well, and there are things that you know but not as well as someone else has been doing it for much longer. So don't beat up on yourself. You wanted to stick to it, keep racing. The more you race, the better, the faster you'll get. And that's one thing for sure. We've definitely gotten faster each and every time that we've raced. So we're looking forward to going back out here. So we got Amatus up on the second leg of our endurance race. we have 3 racers. We got Jason, aka J Dog. Didn't have a fitment for the GoPro, so didn't get footage for him, but we'll definitely have some footage for him next time. So Amatis is going through those chicanes there very nicely, pretty textbook. Clipping those corners, trying to get the kart as straight as possible, getting the most acceleration. Another thing you want to keep in mind is that, these karts are low to the ground, and the weight of the driver definitely affects the drivability, the speed, the acceleration of the kart. So keeping your center of gravity, that means don't bounce around in the kart. Though the kart may bounce around from time, you got to try to keep yourself centered to the kart. Don't shift your body weight around, because that can disrupt the kart. With respect to just keeping that pace that you have, or just keeping the kart steady through a turn. Leaning to one side or the other may help the kart to balance, but from what I've learned so far, for me, keeping myself centered in the kart may be the best for the kart's reaction on the track. So as Amatis comes around, takes nicely, clips that, comes in nicely here. Could have definitely come in much closer. You can see that he got out wide there. That slowed him down and then took him off track. So when coming around, he's going to probably want to try to attempt to get into that corner much better. It's kind of hit or miss. A lot of these corners we kind of made it look good on some turns, others not so much. So opportunity for us to continue to get better. Looking forward to racing this track again. This video, we didn't plot the GPS data, other telemetry data that we captured through the GoPro. We show you the elevation points, speed, the race lines that we took, but in preparation for this video, we didn't have that data ready. But certainly in future videos, we're going to lay that data on this, and hopefully you get to see our speed going through turns, G-forces, etc. You get to see a layout of the track. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Amatis is going to do a great job with that production. So getting back to the race here, doing a good job coming through here, braking nicely, using the entire track. Very nice coming through this one. I think Amatis had a much better control and handle of that first corner there with a lot of confidence. Coming into the second corner here, getting close to the apex again, in the apex there. That zone, coming around, using the entire track, so that's really good. Coming in there, could have clipped a little bit more in that corner, could have gained a split second. Nicely done, but again, they lost some speed there, want to get more into that apex. Coming around here, you're getting a lot of good speed. We're full throttle, flat out here, after coming through those chicanes, we're flat out. So you want to use the entire track to allow the kart to be pushed to the limit as you come around the corner. So using the entire track allows you to not have to ease up off the accelerator as much and maintain the grip that you need. Again, braking is important. You definitely want to know when to brake or when to just ease up off the accelerator. The whole point is trying to maintain as much speed as possible, getting as much speed out of the corner as you can. Go-kart racing is exciting, man. I mean, I tell you, you go to different tracks, race against different people. The competition is pretty fierce, so that, for those who are serious about it, they know their stuff. So, when you get on the track, it's definitely all fun, but definitely not games. I'll tell you that much. Nice job coming around the corner there, using the full track. Other tips, when trying to balance with the gas and the brake on the right and the left, that might take some time for some to get acclimated with. Certainly we had no trouble with that. With braking, you want to just get a feel for the kart. Each kart is tuned a little differently, and they may perform a little bit differently. So getting a feel for the kart is very important. Even just your hands on the steering position. You can see Amatis has a wide steering grip there. Probably the most perfect, gives him the most control when turning. The other racer there having a nice little overtake coming through that corner. They have a very good handle on that corner. You can see it coming around effortlessly. Amethyst is keeping track, following that line. See, that racer's coming around without issue. Oh, spin out there. Got too deep into that corner and basically lost it. There you go. A little mud there on the camera. Ooh. Tire's still slippery coming out of that corner. So, you know, that's something you got to realize. Yes, that day also had a little drizzle going throughout the day. I don't know if it hadn't started at this time, but the track, it wasn't perfectly dry. Tires weren't perfectly warm, and you know, spinning out there with the dirt on the track, as you could see, the water doesn't help the grip ability. Sets him back, messes up his whole momentum, and now he has to really try to find that momentum back. That's definitely not easy. So we talked about like steering input. As you go through these corners, you can see the steering input, how, you know, slightly he may turn. Again, another spin out there due to the tires being wet. They still haven't fully dried up and got that gripability back, causing him to slip out again. Sometimes that helps, that takes away your confidence, you know, takes away your momentum, obviously. Over there, a lot of water coming from that residual splash out or crash out there. Affect all the drivers coming around the corner, actually. So that's an element that you got to watch out for. So that's the beauty of these outdoor tracks, right? You know, the elements are there. It's going to test your driving ability and, you know, attention to detail. See to your right there, that's pit lane. At some point, we'll wave in Amethyst when he gets to the 20-minute mark. With regards to steering input, I meant to mention that, you know, your outside hand, you see he raises his outside hand there. So making this left turn, you want to push with that outside right hand. Again, push with the outside left hand coming around. Instead of pulling on the steering wheel down to come around the corner, you're using the outside hand to push the steering wheel around. You get better control that way. One way to practice is, you know, when you get on the track, you know, do a couple laps with one hand, do a couple laps with the other hand by itself. Get a good feel, because then you have to really concentrate to keep the car as smooth as possible. Like Amethyst said, or at least says all the time to me, you know, smooth is fast. So, you know, the smoother you can get around the track, using up the track in the least amount of time, you know, you'll have some very, very good results with that. Get another driver pulling up here on Amethyst, getting around there. You know, again, it's good to see some of these faster drivers, more experienced drivers on the track. You get to see their body language, the racing lines they're taking. This guy here, I pay close attention to, also one of the faster ones. You can see, you know, he keeps his body very still as he goes through. Almost seems effortless. He's just gliding through those corners and just gaining speed out of nowhere, just finding grip out of nowhere. And just going. I think Amethyst is waving to us there over by the pit lane. You can see that driver ahead is just breezing through the corners effortlessly. So that's where we want to get to. You could tell that he has very good experience with this. You see how high he took that line, that corner there? He got all the way up to the top of that corner there, and then started his turn radius, and then came downhill. That's very much what I was saying, similar to this corner, because they're both kind of downhill. Taking it as wide at the top as possible, then kind of coming downhill through that apex, gaining all that speed, and you can see him just kind of zoom away in the background. Now, we haven't tracked all the laps here. We'd love to tell you what lap we're on. But again, once we get the telemetry data, we definitely keep better track of all the data. But, you know, you can see drivers are coming up on Amethyst here. He's doing his best to, you know, keep his pace but not get in the way. Takes his turn a little wide. Doesn't want to run up into the water or the debris again. This gentleman in front of us, he's doing a good job. Comes through that corner well. Good job by Amethyst there. Just try to stay off the dirt. Don't want to slow yourself down. I definitely don't ever want to blame the cart. That's for sure. You know, a good workman never blames his tools. So I'll never blame the cart. But again, you know, these carts are rental carts. We haven't driven them before, at least not myself. And these are probably newer carts than what Amethyst drove the year previously. And the whole point is that they may all have the same top speed or just about the same within a reasonable degree. But some may be tuned differently. Some may accelerate a little faster than others, even though they may have the same top speed ultimately. But when we were driving, definitely felt like other cars were outpacing us, even just on a straightaway. Even when we were at full throttle, felt like other cars may have been pulling away in the acceleration part of it. You know, we were able to keep up top speed, but in terms of accelerating out of a corner or from a slow position, it was really tough. Well, there you have it. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you sticking around for the commentary. This was the first time I did some commentary, so, you know, leave some feedback for me. Hopefully, you know, I'll get much better at this. So, till next time, guys. Talk to you soon.